What the F am I talking about when I say the simulation theory? And offering proof that we're all in it.
He's gone mad. He's lost the plot.
You would say that, wouldn't you, flipping normie?
You have to understand, most of these people are not ready to be unplugged. And many of them are so inert, so hopelessly dependent on the system, that they will fight to protect it.
Are you ready to be unplugged from the Matrix?
Let's take a deep dive down the rabbit hole. Who put a rabbit hole there?
This is the basic-ass premise of the simulation argument. Computers can almost make a reality that is indistinguishable from our own. And now we have VR, which is almost total immersion. Indistinguishable from reality would mean that real life looks just like a video game. It would mean that you can't tell the difference between real life and a computer game. We're not there yet, but it is becoming easy to imagine a point where it's impossible to tell the difference.
Now imagine just 100 years into the future. I mean, you'll be dead, almost certainly. It's probable that a computer game will look, sound, taste, feel like real life.
You're still thinking about the being dead bit, aren't you? Therefore, who's to say it hasn't already happened? That is the premise of the simulation argument. Now let's expand.
The idea that the world being illusion has long been proposed by religions like Hinduism and Buddhism, and more recently films like The Matrix and Inception. Some scientists reckon they can prove it scientifically.
Must be true, scientists said it.
In the future, it might become possible to simulate entire universes. But if this is an option, how can we know that it's not already happened?
In researching for this video, I read a lot of scientific papers, and even though they're drier than stuffing 5 cream crackers in your mouth, I did it for you.
There's been tons of tests done. I won't bore you with them because it's literally impossible for me to tell you about them without boring you to tears.
Big fat disclaimer alert. As of today's date, this is a hypothesis. You don't care about that, do you?
Take the motherfucking red pill.
This is my opinion. If you don't like it, what do you want to fight about it? I mean, they don't call it the simulation argument for nothing. This is a hypothesis, like evolution or God or Piers Morgan, or some other impossibly complicated part of life. So with that said, let's mother flipping get on with it.
But here's the question. Where does this hypothesis come from?
Well, it reached media attention initially when a guy called Nick Bostrom, who looks like a cross between the super brainy philosopher Alain de Botton and a recent divorcee who only gets to see his kids once a month and is on the verge of bankruptcy.
Look at these two. It's like the brainier you are, the more room your brain needs, so it pushes all your hair out. I don't have that problem.
Apart from being cleverer than a brain pie, Nick spends most of his time being a professor at Oxford, but came to attention when he wrote his simulation theory in 2003, which was literally years ago. The paper, called The Simulation Argument, blew up faster than one of Elon Musk's SpaceX rockets. After the aforementioned Elon Musk, who the media rightly all get massive hard-ons for, started talking about it. Next thing you know, poor old Nick Bostrom gets wheeled out, gets paraded around the Joe Rogan podcast, which is like getting to meet the queen of fucking podcasting or something. Nick looked pretty nervous, but when he saw a fellow baldy, they soon hit it off as all baldy boys do.
I thought he'd never leave. Me neither. Oh, yeah. Oh, did you guys just do the thing?
What then if this is just a video game? We could just be living in a very advanced version of The Sims. The Sims 50.
Which is probably why they all speak that funny language that we don't understand. It's the language of the future.
Oz! Siva Gork! Dustai! Army Beta.
Can you imagine a future, not too far away, where everything's been done? Every single person will be housed, fed, clothed, looked after. It's like a utopia. It will probably be very boring and very safe, and there'll be no danger whatsoever.
But people need more than that. They need danger, excitement, thrills and chills. Otherwise it's just like going to McDonald's and having a salad. Utterly pointless. So if you do live in this utopian world of the future, you would jack into the Matrix. You'd strap in and live a rip-roaring life in any part of our known history, knowing that you would eventually just wake up.
No other film has done more than the green-tinged killer kung fu sci-fi fantasy flick The Matrix to bring the simulation argument to public attention.
In the Matrix films, AI, artificial intelligence, is a big metallic squid-looking thing that's determined to wipe out humanity for some reason. The trilogy is actually as much a warning against the dangers of AI as it is about a simulated reality, where the AI has placed all human beings inside a simulated reality so they can use them all as batteries. The shits.
The Matrix is a computer-generated dream world, built to keep us under control in order to change a human being into this.
I mean, they obviously haven't discovered Duracell. Those things last all day.
So much power, it just keeps on going. Unbelievable, unbeatable, unstoppable.
It also popularised the fact that what we call life could actually be boiled down to just lines of computer code. Some scientists, namely these nerdy science bods, have discovered when you break down atoms and other impossibly small things, like the collective intellect of the people on The Only Way is Essex, what you see is code. Specifically, binary code, which is code made of ones and zeros, which is computer language. And it's harder to get your head around than Mandarin, which up until last week I thought was a fruit like an easy peeler orange. Listen to the virgin nerdy science bods explain it.
And what I've come to understand is that there are these incredible pictures that contain all the information of a set of equations that are related to string theory. And it's even more bizarre than that, because when you then try to understand these pictures, you find out that buried in them are computer codes just like the type that you find in a browser when you go surf the web. And so I'm left with the puzzle of trying to figure out whether I live in the Matrix or not.
Wait, you're blowing my mind at this moment. So you're saying, are you saying your attempt to understand the fundamental operations of nature leads you to a set of equations that are indistinguishable from the equations that drive search engines and browsers on our computers?
That is correct.
So you're saying as you dig deeper, you find computer code writ in the fabric of the cosmos.
Into the equations that we want to use to describe the cosmos, yes.
But we are now discovering that this reality may not be what we call real, but is in fact made up of computer code.
This isn't real.
What is real? How do you define real? If you're talking about what you can feel, what you can smell, what you can taste and see, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain.
Another question the Matrix posed was, do we have free will, or is our life predetermined?
None of us like the idea that life may actually be predetermined, that our storyline has already been written.
Do you believe in fate, Neil?
No,
Why not?
because I don't like the idea that I'm not in control of my life.
It's like going to a restaurant and somebody ordering for you, probably fucking soup or something. Even more evidence for this fact is that scientists have rather scarily discovered that your brain decides what you are going to do seconds before you do.
Just as in Libet's original work, this experiment seems to show that my brain begins to prepare for movement long before I felt like I had consciously decided to move.
Bit like this.
This is just a cheap trick. I've run a brothel for 10 years, and if there's one thing I know, it's when I'm being fucked with. This can't possibly... You can't. I can't.
Would you like to have a week's holiday at our facility? £2,000 you can have an entire lifetime at any point in our known history. And you'd snap it up. Just imagine you could be anyone, fact or fiction. You could live the entire life of Walter White in Breaking Bad. You could be Sherlock Holmes, Piers Morgan. Maybe not.
Hey, I'm as attached to my life as you are. I don't want to know any of this stuff. God, I even turned down Morpheus when he tried to wake me up.
Do you want to know what it is?
Not really. No. I don't know why I'm here, to be honest. Your man just picked me up off the street. I had no idea what's going on. My name's not even Neo, it's Jack. This Matrix thing sounds bloody interesting, but...
The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window, or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth.
What are you doing? I thought you were going to punch me then.
This is your last chance. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
I'm just going to say now, I really don't like swallowing pills. It's just when I was a kid, I swallowed one that got stuck in my throat. And ever since then, I can't really do pills. It's just, if you've got like maybe a liquid version of it, of the pill, or maybe like, I don't know, at a push, a suppository. What are you looking at me like that for?
Now we come to the only man with full-on Asperger's to manage to reproduce and make babies. Lots of them.
It's like he managed to hack into the Matrix himself, changed all his DNA and computer code, so he became the sexiest, well-liked man of all time.
Mind you, shitload of money and fame helps. If Bill Gates or Mark Zuckerberg didn't have any money, what do you think they'd be?
Muskie, who manages to turn every invention he has into the best thing since the see-through toaster, read brainy Bostrom's paper and took it upon himself to talk about it.
I think here's, in my mind, like the strongest argument for us being in a simulation, probably being in a simulation, I think is the following. That 40 years ago, we had Pong, like 2 rectangles and a dot. That was what games were. Now, 40 years later, we have photorealistic 3D simulations with millions of people playing simultaneously, and it's getting better every year. And soon we'll have virtual reality, we'll have augmented reality. If you assume any rate of improvement at all, then the games will become indistinguishable from reality, just indistinguishable. Even if that rate of advancement drops by 1,000 from what it is right now, then you just say, okay, well, let's imagine it's 10,000 years in the future, which is nothing in the evolutionary scale. So given that we're clearly on a trajectory to have games that are indistinguishable from reality, and those games could be played on any set-top box or on a PC or whatever, and there would probably be, billions of such, computers or set-top boxes, it would seem to follow that the odds that we're in base reality is 1 in billions.
So
tell me what's wrong with that argument.
Is the answer yes?
The argument is probably. I mean, but I just like, is there a flaw in that argument?
I mean, someone.
I'm not sure what the error.
No. The argument makes sense. So the assumption then is that somebody beat us to it, and this is a game.
No. There's a 1 in billions chance that this is base reality.
Oh, okay. What do you think?
Well, I think it's 1 in billions.
Okay.
1 in a billion chance that this is not a simulation. 1 in a billion chance that this is not a simulation.
1 in a billion chance that this is not a simulation.
1 in a billion chance that this is not a simulation. This means that it is almost a mathematical certainty, as close as you can get, that this is actually a simulation. You might be saying, oh rubbish, I don't believe that. What a load of old tosh. Okay, Karen.
I don't care what you believe. I'm just telling you what the odds are.
You might be thinking, he's not that brainy, he's still got hair. Ah, but he didn't used to. Money, you see. Underneath that head of manufactured hair is a brainy bald guy. Why should we listen to him? What has he done anyway except start an electric car company from scratch?
Invented PayPal,
Launching 5G satellites to bring the entire world online.
designed solar roof panels.
Only a guy who launched the first private space rockets.
He's making a massive tunnel underneath LA to solve the traffic problem. Of course, Karen from Hounslow doesn't think it's possible, everyone, so best we just forget about the simulation argument.
If you don't believe Musky Boy, what about another media darling that they all self-flagellate over? He's another brainy guy, but like Musk, he has hair. So he's winning in all areas of life.
And it's not just his head. Some of his hair took shelter under his nose.
Perhaps it's a scientific experiment to see if he can filter out the bullshit better.
So are we living in simulation?
I find it hard to argue against that possibility.
Why are we here? I don't know. Yes, thank you, there are things I don't know. Why do you go on a roller coaster? You know it's going to be scary. You do it for the thrill.
I mean, I don't go on roller coasters because I hate them.
But you do, don't you?
What we call life is just a video game in an amusement park. Nothing sums up this theory better for me than a clip from Rick and Morty.
Afternoon at Blips and Chips! Oh, this place is the best. It's got beer, games, prizes, and you can never tell what time it is.
You sold a gun to a murderer so you could play video games?
Yeah, sure. I mean, if you spend all day shuffling words around, you can make anything sound bad, Morty. Here, check this out.
Roy, what's wrong?
I had a nightmare. I was with an old man. He put a helmet on me.
It's just a fever. Get some sleep. I don't want you missing school on Monday.
I want you kids to look around you today and think about your future. Now is the time in your life when anything is possible.
Spiraling perfectly, it's gonna be caught by Roy Parsons. Roy Parsons is at the 20. Now he's at the 10. Nothing can stop Roy the Rocket. Touchdown!
I just think it's time to get realistic. Have you talked to my father about the carpet store? Roy?
Had we caught it sooner... Well, hindsight is 20/20, Roy. What's important is that we move quickly.
I'm not ready to die.
You're not going to.
Yeah! Hey, thanks for the carpet, Roy.
Hey, Roy, you pull those Persian off-white shags for the clearance sale?
Whoa. Shit! Oh, what the hell? Whoa, where am I?
55 years. Not bad, Morty. You kind of wasted your 30s, though, with that whole bird-watching phase.
Where's my wife?
Morty, you were just playing a game. It's called Roy. Snap out of it. Come on.
I'm Morty. You're Rick. Hey, you sold a gun to a guy that kills people!
Look at this. You beat cancer and then you went back to work at the carpet store? Boo!
Don't dodge the issue, Rick! Selling a gun to a hitman is the same as pulling the trigger!
It's also the same as doing nothing. If Crumbopulous Michael wants someone dead, there's not a lot anyone can do to stop him. That's why he does it for a living. Now excuse me, it's time to thrash your Roy score.
You know, you could stop this killing from happening, Rick. You know, you did a bad thing selling that gun, but you could undo it if you wanted.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's the difference between you and me, Morty. I never go back to the carpet store.
Holy shit! This guy's taking Roy off the grid! This guy doesn't have a social security number for Roy!
This very nicely sums up the fact that life is just a bloody ride.
The world is like a ride at an amusement park, and when you choose to go on it, you think it's real, because that's how powerful our minds are. And the ride goes up and down and round and round. It has thrills and chills, and it's very brightly colored, and it's very loud, and it's fun for a while. Some people have been on the ride for a long time, and they begin to question, is this real, or is this just a ride? And other people have remembered, and they come back to us, and they say, hey, don't worry, don't be afraid, ever, because this is just a ride. Has to be real. It's just a ride. But we always kill those good guys who try and tell us that. You ever notice that? And let the demons run amok? But it doesn't matter, because it's just a ride.
So, don't worry about a thing. Just sit back, crack open a few beers, relax, and watch the show. And enjoy the fucking thing.
If you think this is real life, if you